Guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's episode of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys visiting the channel and spending some time with me today. If you guys have watched the channel last week or so, I've been talking about some of the worst, most overrated lakes in the country, and today I want to have a little conversation. I just want to share with you, if there's one lake that I would suggest that you guys could fish before you die on your bucket list, what that lake is going to be. And I'm going to go over it in today's video and sort of explain why that is, because probably not one of the ones that you would think there. But anyway, we're going to get into that in today's episode. Also, guys, real quick, you've heard me talk about this a lot. If you missed it, I just wanted to remind you that last week Tackle Warehouse started their Black Friday sale. We got tons of good deals, 20% off on almost everything on the website. If you guys are looking to purchase some tackle, there's not a better time right now. So I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of the video. If you guys use that link to purchase your stuff, the channel gets a small percentage of the commission. It's a good way to support intuitive angling here if you're inclined to do that. Really appreciate it. Okay, one of the things, guys, I've been fortunate enough, and a lot of times I don't take time to remember how fortunate I am with this, because there's a lot of distractions to traveling the country full time as a professional angler for 30 or 35 years. But I've literally had a chance to fish coast to coast, from Canada down into Mexico, California to the East Coast, up everywhere. I mean, just the only places I haven't fished in this country are the Pacific Northwest, because there's not much bass water up there. But I've had a chance to sample pretty much every major lake in the country, multiple times, and got a chance to know every one of them good. And guys, out of every lake in the country, if I could give you one lake to go to before you die to experience the fishing on this lake and everything around it, it would be Lake Mead in Nevada, Las Vegas. And I want to explain to you why this is, and I'll, maybe you guys will get a, better feel for that. First of all, bass fishing, catching fish is only part of the experience of bass fishing. If you go bass fishing for nothing other than just to catch bass, you're missing out on most of what bass fishing is. And I think a lot of people lose sight of that. So when I talk about Lake Mead, I'm not talking about the lake in terms of being this awesome fishery. It's a decent fishery. I consider it, out of all the major lakes across the country, I would consider Lake Mead like an average fishery as far as terms of the numbers of fish in it and the size of fish in it. So Lake Mead is not a lake that you want to go to, if you're just there, to get bit. But that's not what I'm talking about, why it's a lake you should visit before you die. The entire energy of Lake Mead, out of all the lakes I fished in my whole life, guys, there's nothing that even comes close to it. And unless you are on Lake Mead, and unless you can feel what I'm talking about, you don't understand. But because when you fish Lake Mead, it's literally like somebody took you and put you on a different planet. Because other than some helicopters flying overhead back and forth from Las Vegas to the Grand Canyon, taking tourists at sightseeing, you don't see any sign of civilization. No sign of man. There's just a handful of marinas on the lake, and they're easy to get away from. But when you get out on Lake Mead, the first thing that you notice about it is there's nothing there except land and water. And right off the bat, that is so refreshing, because I'm here at Lake Wheeler right now, and Lake Wheeler is a typical lake. It's just got overdeveloped. It's got, dog food plants on the bank. It's got industry on the bank. It's a bass fishing lake, but there's no aesthetic value to it. Lake Mead has the highest aesthetic value of any lake in the United States, in my opinion. So when you go in Lake Mead and you're running through like some of the steep canyon walls, then you open up into some of those basins, and it's a vast flat basin, crystal clear blue water. Lake can get super rough. You feel the power and the force of the desert winds sometimes. The lake can get 6 and 8 foot waves on it, or it can be completely calm. I've seen it both. But when you're out there, there's a smell and there's a feel unlike any other place. You got this constant fragrance of like sagebrush drifting across when you're fishing. There's no weird smells from industry or pollutants. You got this natural sagebrush that probably was the same smell that the Native Americans smelled, 500 years ago that were living there. You see, tons of wild animals. You see mountain lions. You see, the mountain sheep out there, road runners, coyotes everywhere. It's just, there's just a plethora of desert life on there, and the desert vegetation that you see, unlike any other place. But it's my favorite lake in the country, guys. I've had a chance to fish all the best lakes in the country. There's not a famous bass fishery in the United States that I have not fished. All of them, Okeechobee, all the big bass lakes in Texas, all the big smallmouth meccas up north. I fished them all. And if you told me, say, Randy, you got one more fishing trip to take before you die, where do you want to go? It would be Lake Mead, simply because, fish are there, you can catch fish, but it's just like there's a therapeutic quality to Lake Mead that, like I said, unless you're there, you just can't really understand it. And the people that fish Lake Mead out there, if they don't understand and appreciate that, then they're very out of tune with themselves as a person. Because out of everybody that I've taken fishing to Lake Mead, I have yet to see somebody that was not touched in some way by fishing that particular lake. It's like you get out there and it's just, there's a magic and there's a wonderment to that lake that it just can't, you can only, like I said, you can only, experience it from being there. So highly suggest it, guys. I mean, if you go out to Lake Mead, I mean, if you want to, you can hang out in Las Vegas there. It's not very far from Las Vegas, but just, man, if you get a chance, get out there, spend a few days on the lake, try to get it from one end to the other and get a feel for it. And it's just awesome. And like I said, one of the things that really makes me sad in fishing sometimes, and that's why I'm so anti-tech, is that the true value and the true meaning and reason that we fish is for the healing properties and the therapeutic value that fishing brings. And when you're on a lake that has that and brings that to you, there's nothing better. I mean, that's why we fish. It's like, I don't care. It's like here on Lake Wheeler or any of the TVA lakes or whatever. I don't care if I catch a 40-pound bag every day that I'm out there. I just don't. I want to have some aesthetic value along with my fishing. So to me, I would rather catch a 10-pound bag of fish at Lake Mead and never see another human being all day long than to catch a 40-pound bag on one of these busy lakes out here and hear traffic and semis driving by and jets flying over and the construction equipment. That's just me, and that's why I rail against technology so much, because the further that we get into technology and the further that we let technology dominate our lives, the further it removes us from this whole natural healing therapeutic the wholeness of fishing and that just the wonderment that goes with it. So get out to Lake Mead, guys. Two pieces of advice I'll give you in fishing, from somebody that's been around and done it for a long time. Number one is resist technology in fishing. Number two, get out to Lake Mead. Number three, don't get caught up on catching fish and experience fishing for what it really is. Just that, relaxing, therapeutic, healing activity that fishing is, that doesn't necessarily come with catching fish. It comes with like feeling the wind in your face, feeling the sun in your eyes, feeling the gentle rocking of the boat, feeling the power of nature out there when you're in a very pure form, getting soaked to death in a rainstorm, being cold, being hot, experiencing all of the senses that being outside allows us to do. So don't get in a silo, guys. Don't insulate yourself from the realities of nature. Don't get sucked in by technology. Don't get sucked in by the things that take you away from what fishing really is. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed it. Talk later.